You check your phone again. You just checked it 4 minutes ago. Nothing has changed. Nothing was supposed to change, but your hand is already moving toward it. Why? The easy answer is that phones are designed to be addictive. That's true, but it's not the real answer. The real answer is far stranger. Your hand isn't reaching for a screen. It's reaching for something that kept your ancestors alive for 2 million years. Picture the savannah. Not the phone, not yet. A small band of early humans is spread across open grassland. There is no fence, no wall, no roof. Every few minutes, someone lifts their head and scans the horizon. Not because they saw something, because they didn't. And that's exactly the problem. In that world, silence was never neutral. Silence could mean nothing was wrong. Or it could mean a predator was already close enough that the birds had stopped singing. You couldn't know which, so you checked. Again and again. This is called vigilance behavior, and it wasn't optional. The humans who checked less often didn't get to pass on that trait. The ones who checked constantly, who scanned the tall grass, who glanced up at every rustle, those were the ones who noticed the lion 3 seconds before it noticed them. 3 seconds was the difference between a story and a corpse. Your brain was built by the checkers, not the calm ones. Now think about what a modern notification actually is. A tiny, unexplained change in your environment. A sound, a flash, a number that wasn't there before. Your ancestral brain doesn't know the difference between a rustle in the grass and a buzz in your pocket. Both are the same signal, dressed differently. Something changed. Investigate now. Ask questions later. That's the first piece. But it's not the whole story, because vigilance alone doesn't explain why you check your phone even when you know there's nothing there. Vigilance explains reacting to a sound. It doesn't explain checking a silent screen out of pure habit. For that, you need to understand a psychologist named B.F. Skinner and a very simple box. In the 1950s, Skinner ran experiments with pigeons and levers. Some pigeons got a food pellet every single time they pressed the lever. Predictable, reliable. Those pigeons pressed the lever when they were hungry and stopped when they were full. Simple. But other pigeons were placed on what Skinner called a variable ratio schedule. Sometimes the lever gave food, sometimes it gave nothing. There was no pattern the pigeon could learn. And here's the strange part. Those pigeons didn't press the lever less. They pressed it obsessively. Far more than the pigeons who got rewarded every time. Uncertainty didn't reduce the behavior. Uncertainty supercharged it. Does that sound familiar? Every time you unlock your phone, you're pulling a lever. Sometimes there's a message that matters. Sometimes there's nothing. You can never predict which. And that unpredictability is not a design flaw. It's the entire mechanism. Your phone isn't a tool that occasionally interrupts you. It's a slot machine that occasionally pays out, wrapped in the shape of a tool. But why would uncertainty feel so good to chase in the first place? This is where a neuroscientist named Berridge changes the picture entirely. Berridge spent decades studying dopamine in the brain, and he found something almost nobody expected. Dopamine isn't the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of wanting. There's a difference, and the difference explains almost everything about your phone. Liking something releases its own separate signal, a quiet satisfaction after the fact. But wanting, the anticipation, the reaching, the checking, that's driven by dopamine. And dopamine doesn't fire when you get the reward. It fires right before, when the outcome is still unknown. The chase itself is the chemical event. The reward is almost an afterthought. This means your phone doesn't need to give you anything good to keep pulling you back. It just needs to keep you uncertain. The 3 seconds before the screen lights up are doing more to your brain than whatever is actually on it. Your ancestors' brains ran on the exact same wiring, just aimed at different targets. Was there fruit past that ridge? Was that shape in the water a crocodile or a log? The not knowing was the itch. Checking was the scratch. And every single time it paid off, even slightly, the itch got stronger, not weaker. There's a third piece to this, and it might be the one that explains why phones specifically, and not just any screen, feels so hard to put down. A British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar spent years studying primate social groups, and he found a consistent pattern. The size of a primate social group correlates directly with the size of a specific region of its brain, the neocortex. Bigger social brain, bigger social circle. For humans, Dunbar calculated a number that's now famous. Roughly 150 people. That's the upper limit of relationships your brain evolved to meaningfully track. But here's what matters more than the number. Dunbar also found that primates, humans included, spend an enormous amount of energy simply monitoring their social group. Who's allied with whom? Who's upset? Who's rising in status? Who might be talking about you right now? This isn't gossip for entertainment, it's survival software. In a small ancestral band, your position in the group determined whether you ate, whether you were protected, whether you found a mate at all. Your phone didn't invent this hunger, it just gave it infinite fuel. Every notification, every like, every message, every read receipt is a tiny data point about your standing in a social world. Is someone thinking about you? Did they respond? Did they see it and say nothing? Your ancestral brain treats each of these like a whispered update from the tribe. And because status could shift in an instant, missing an update once felt dangerous. It still feels dangerous, even when, rationally, you know it isn't. So 3 ancient systems are running underneath every single glance at your screen. A vigilance system that treats every unexplained signal as a possible threat. A reward system that fires hardest not when you get something, but when you don't know if you will. And a social monitoring system that never stops asking where you stand in the group. None of these systems know what a phone is. They were never built for one. They were built for grasslands, for small bands of 30 to 50 people, for a world where the only messages you'd ever receive came from someone standing directly in front of you. You are running 4-million-year-old software on hardware it was never designed to meet. And this is the part worth sitting with. This isn't a character flaw. It's not weakness, and it's not a lack of discipline. Every single person who has ever felt that unexplainable pull to check a silent phone is experiencing a system doing exactly what it was built to do. It's working perfectly. It's just aimed at the wrong target now. Knowing this doesn't switch the systems off. Your brain will still light up at uncertainty. It will still chase the ping before it chases the meaning. It will still ask, quietly, constantly, where do I stand right now? That won't change by reading this. But something else can change. You can stop mistaking the itch for a genuine need. You can recognize the reach for what it is, an ancient reflex firing in a modern shell. You can notice the 3 seconds before you unlock the screen and understand for just a moment what's actually happening in there. You check your phone again. Nothing has changed. Nothing was supposed to change. But now you know exactly why your hand moved anyway. It wasn't the phone calling you. It was 2 million years of grassland, still watching for the rustle in the grass.